Hello and welcome to Retool. In this video, I'll walk you through the basic building blocks of Retool and show you how to quickly build your first app. I'll cover how to use the Retool app editor to connect to data sources, build a UI, write JavaScript, and share some tips and tricks to quickly get you up and running. The Retool app editor is organized into four main sections. The right panel, where you insert and modify user interface components, the canvas, where you will place your UI components, the bottom query panel, where you will create and edit queries to interact with your databases and APIs, and the left panel called the data browser, where you can look under the hood and explore all of the properties of your components, queries, and app. You can show and hide these panels using the buttons at the top middle of your screen. The right panel is divided into two sections, Insert and Inspect. The Insert tab lets you build your user interface by dragging and dropping UI components onto the canvas. The Inspect tab lets you set different properties of your UI components, such as names, values, and styling. You can select components for inspection, move them around by clicking and dragging, or use the arrow keys on your keyboard. You can copy, paste, and move multiple components at a time, as well as duplicate component groups into reusable modules. The bottom panel is where you create and modify queries which interact with any data resources you've set up. A resource allows Retool to connect to your data and securely stores your credentials. Resources can connect to databases or APIs and can be created directly in your app. Resources are reusable across apps. Each query in the bottom panel links to a resource and has a name and fields for specifying actions you want to take on the resource. A query can execute SQL, GraphQL, and take other more resource-specific actions, as well as call any RESTful API endpoint, and even run JavaScript code. On the right side of the bottom panel, you can view helpful information about your resource, such as the database table structure or GraphQL API endpoint schema. When you save a query, the data from that query will automatically become available under that variable name. One of the superpowers of Retool is that each UI component and query that you create gets bound to a variable, which can be accessed anywhere across your app in code. The data browser on the left-hand panel lets you browse the different components, queries, and temporary state variables of your app, as well as the current user's information. Under each component, you can find all of the properties for that component. For example, by selecting the table component, I can see that the selected row property is populated with the current selected row's values. Text components support Markdown, and here we're using the curly braces to write JavaScript and reference the selected row. Now that we've covered some of the most basic parts of Retool, let's take a walk through a sample application. Our sample app is pulling in data from a Postgres database, as well as the Clearbit REST API. We can see that there are a number of components including containers, tables, a progress slider, charts, and buttons. In the bottom panel, we can see multiple queries interfacing with a Postgres resource. We can view and modify the queries in SQL mode or in the more simple GUI mode. Selecting the table, we can see that the data input field is referencing our active customers query. Whenever this query runs, the table will automatically update with the returned data. You'll notice that the value in the table component's input field is in curly brackets. This is another really great feature in Retool. Pretty much anywhere across the app, you can reference values and write JavaScript. We've tried to put escape hatches everywhere so you can write code anytime you need to. As you enter variable names in the curly brackets, Retool will suggest known values, making it easier to select the right options. By hovering over the values, you can see what the referenced value will be. Let's look around the app and see some other areas where we're using curly brackets and JavaScript. We can filter the table using this drop-down selector. And our SQL query is referencing the value from this drop-down so that each time the drop-down is used, the query will run with the current drop-down selection's value. Beyond just referencing values, you can write generic JavaScript in the curly brackets. For example, we can convert this title to uppercase by calling the toUppercase function. Libraries like Lodash, Numbro, Moment, and UUID will already be loaded for you, and you can import your own custom libraries in the settings menu. You can write complex front-end logic here, but if you need to write some more substantial code, create a JavaScript query or transformer in the bottom panel. For customizing the UI, if none of the pre-built UI components work for you, you can also write your own custom React components. To do this, select the custom component in the right-hand panel. You'll see that you can modify the React component template code. Now that we've looked at building your UI and linking it with data, you may be wondering how to make the app more interactive. For example, when the Update Company Details button is pressed, the Update Customer Details query runs, and the row in the database is updated with the value from that input field. So let's take a look at how this works. To do this in Retool, you need to set up an event handler. As you might expect, this will tell the app how to handle specific events such as clicks, form submissions, and query successes. When this event happens, you can tell the app what action to take by selecting an action from the dropdown, such as triggering a query, running a script, or showing a notification. In our app, we see that when this button is clicked, the trigger query action will execute the Update Customer Details query, which then updates the row in the database. Event handlers exist around the Retool app and let you build interactivity and chain logic together. Another common use case for event handlers is running another query on success of an action. You might do this if you want to show the most recent version of a table after adding a new row. Lastly, I'll show you some additional tips and tricks. For quickly navigating around Retool, you can press Command-K on Mac or Control-K on Windows to open the omnibox. This is where you can search for apps, resources, settings, and more. For particularly secure applications, when you're working with very sensitive data, you can deploy Retool within your own private network. Sometimes you can't work directly on production data, and for this case, you can set up specific production and staging environments. And since you or your troublesome colleague might make a mistake, we store revision history and give you ability to revert changes in the Releases and History menu. You can also create releases so that you can build and maintain your live app without affecting current users. This is great for when you need to improve an important app that's in production. Sometimes you need to give users limited access to resources or apps. For instance, tech support users might not need access to all resources in your account. You can put users into specific permission groups in your Retool instance user settings. These group settings will show up as properties under the current user in the data browser, so you can use them to create group-specific functionality within your app. And after building your app, you can share it with end users by clicking the preview button or creating a publicly shareable link in the app settings. That's all for now. Happy building, and feel free to reach out to us with any questions on our website chat, Intercom, or on our community forums at community.retool.com. Thanks for watching.